In the previous lecture, we have been talking about how to create a database. We have been talking about how to use an underlying database. And in this lecture, we are going to talk about how to create a given table in that given database. So what do we have to do? We have to use the create table statement. Then, of course, we have to define the name of that given table. So, for example, student. Then we can use multiple lines and spacing to make sure that it is human readable, that what are we doing exactly. So, of course, we can use a single line statement and it is going to be just fine. It is going to be interpreted by MySql, but of course, we would like to make sure that it is human readable. So it is straightforward for us humans what's happening under the hood. In this case, we create a table named student, and of course, we have to define the given columns. So for example, we will have a student ID, we will have a name, we will have a gender, an age parameter, and so on. So first of all, we have a student ID. It is going to be an integer, but this is exactly what we have been talking about, that we don't have to create an integer. We can use a small integer instead and unsigned, because of course we know for certain that IDs starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So we don't have to deal with negative values. So in this case, we will use small integer, which means that we can store up to 65,535 students, because of course IDs are going to be unique integers. So we are going to identify every single student based on a given unique ID. Okay, then we have the name of the student. So student name, for example, it is going to be a varchar. This is what we have been talking about, the variable length characters. For example, 30. Okay, then we have a so-called gender. In this case, we are going to represent the gender with a single character, whether it is a male, capital M, or female, capital F. In the coming lectures, we are going to talk about enum types, and it is going to be a bit more convenient to use enums. In this case, just for demonstration purposes, a single character is going to represent the gender itself. And that's it. In this case, a given student will have a student ID, a student name, and the given gender. So if we execute the given statement, so let's execute it. As you can see, create table student has been executed. So what does it mean? If we show the tables and we execute the statement, then as you can see in the Udemy database, we have a single table, the so-called student. Okay, we would like to describe the student table. So if we do something like this, then as you can see, this is exactly what we have created. There are three fields: the student ID, the student name, and the gender. We have the types. It is an unsigned small integer. The student name is a varchar. The gender is a single character, and all of them can have null values. Okay, so as you can see, the default values are null values. And what does it mean exactly? That whenever we create the student table, we can define that we would like to make sure that it is not a null. What does it mean? For example, if we say that the student name is not a null, then in this case, we have to define a name for that given student, which means that if we want to insert a given student into the student database table without defining the student name, then we are not able to execute that given statement because we have defined not null, which means that no matter what, we have to define the name of the student. Just for demonstration purposes, we have used something like this. So the default values are null values. So basically, we don't have to define any of these values. And in the next lecture, we are going to take a look how to insert a given value into a database table. Thanks for watching.